Hey guys, it's Kazi here. We're going to be taking a look at the new Super Saiyan Goku and Full Power Frieza EZAs for the 10th year anniversary of Dokkan Battle. Okay, so we have these coming out pretty soon. I don't think we have an exact release date on it, but the data is already in, so it should be relatively soon. I want to go ahead and just run through thank you Gohan. Thank you Dokkan for finally giving us an EZA for some stones. We really appreciate it. Just round of applause real quick. Finally, we can get some damn stones for these EZAs. It's going to be LR EZA. It's going to be 33-ish stones that you can go ahead and collect from it, so that's going to be huge. I know a lot of the part with banners are screwing us all over, myself included, so it's going to be nice to go ahead and recoup some of those costs off of these. And while we get some Dragon Stones to summon for the shiny new units, we also have really, really good LR EZAs. I think they did these guys pretty well. There is a little bit of controversy around a couple of lines from the EZA units text, but let's just go ahead and just run through with the Goku first. So, for the Int Super Saiyan Goku, he's going to greatly raise his defense. He's going to stack it, greatly stacking defense, and then he's going to raise his attack for 1 turn, and it's going to cause Mega Colossal damage. That's just the basic super effect. Remember, their super effects have always done the both having Mega Colossal damage, so that's like nothing new. And then for his Ultra Super, he's going to greatly raise attack and defense, stacking, and then cause Mega Colossal damage. So he's going to greatly stack attack and defense in his Ultra, and he's going to greatly stack just defense in his Super attack. For basic effects, he's going to have Ki plus 3, attacking defense 200, and then he's going to reduce damage received by 20. It's pretty solid, you know, just innately 20 damage reduction. Not a whole lot, but sometimes it can matter. At the start of each turn, he's just going to get Ki. Just boom, 1 Ki, next turn, another Ki after. When attacked, he's going to launch an additional super attack for 4 turns. So that's going to be huge right there. That 4 turns is extremely, extremely nice because you can have him get attacked once. Or let's say slot 2. I don't know, let's throw him slot 1 for the first time. Slot 1, boom, he takes 1 hit because he's, you know, fairly tanky. We'll get to the rest of that in a second. He's going to launch an additional super attack for 4 turns. So let's say next turn rolls around. You don't have to put him in slot 1 for him to, you know, launch the guaranteed additional super attack because he's already has it. He has it for 4 turns from the last time he got attacked. So nice thing to note there. With each attack received, he's going to get Ki plus 3 and attacking defense up to 59, which is it's just additive. That's all it is. It's just adding. You really can't go wrong with that. And then as the first attacker in a turn, he's going to get attack 59% and he's going to reduce damage received by 30%. That's a huge incentive to put him as the first attacker because now he has reduced damage received by 20 and then reduced damage received by 30 as the first attacker. So that's already a great incentive to put him as the first slot unit. As the second or third attacker in a turn, he's going to get attack 100%, which is massive, massive. And then he's going to launch a guaranteed super attack. So another really, really massive reason to put him on the second or third. For 6 turns from first appearance, guards all attacks. 6 turns. That's a long time. It's a solid amount of time. I wouldn't say it's like extremely game breaking. If it said like for 7 turns, okay. And then we're talking, right? 1 extra turn is pretty big. Or just indefinitely. If it was indefinitely, he'd be great. He'd be awesome. There's a little bit of controversy surrounding this and another part for Frieza's passive later on. But the controversy pretty much is they need to see the stats. We need to see how much defense on average is he getting by the time this runs out, because this is going to be huge. Because if, think about this. So turn 1, slot 1, he has guard. He has guard for 6 turns. He has 50% damage reduction in slot 1. Pretty dang good. That's pretty solid. That's pretty solid. Guard and damage reduction for 50% is very, very good. The issue is when this guard runs out, how many additional super attacks did he get? How many times did he have a chance to greatly stack his defense, to greatly raise his attacking defense? Like, all of this matters because once this guard runs out, if you put him in slot 1, he only has 50% damage reduction. That's not good enough. Not good enough. Not good enough in the year 2025. You need that guard and the damage reduction nowadays. Unless you have like 90% or 80% damage reduction, then you really don't need guard. But it's still help. It's still a good add. I would say like the cutoff point would probably be somewhere around like the 70, somewhere around like 77, 80. Yeah, like high 70s, low 80 damage reduction without guard is acceptable. But anything lower than like I said, high 70s, low 80s is like unacceptable without guard. It's unacceptable. Not in the year 2025. It doesn't fly. But if this guy, by the time the guard runs out, is clocking in at like 3 million defense, you know what I'm saying? In the first slot with 50% damage reduction, that's acceptable. You got like 3-4 million defense, and you have 50% damage. That's acceptable. That's doable. That's 100% doable. But if he's only clocking in at like 1.5, 1.3, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not going to be as useful. So that's kind of like the controversy surrounding this unit is what are his defensive numbers looking like by the time this 6 turns runs out, this guard runs out? What are they looking like? Like I said, if he's sitting at millions of defense, like start a turn by the time the guard runs out, that's perfectly fine. You could even throw him in slot 2 at that point if he's sitting at millions and millions of defense. Like just throw him slot 2. He'll get all that extra attack. He'll have that additional. He'll have the additional super attack as well. And hell, you probably already have the when attack launch from the last turn to launch the additional one. So he's gonna be sitting there greatly stacking his defense. So yeah, he can pass in the second slot if his, like I said, if his defensive numbers are adequate. But yeah, that's pretty much like the only controversy with Goku is when this guard runs out, what the numbers looking like. That's gonna be it. We'll know very, very soon. I'm sure people are gonna have the calcs done literally within like the first couple hours of us getting like the playtest of them. But yeah, that's pretty much gonna be it for the Goku. The last couple lines are just like the basic lines. So when there's an extreme, oh no, sorry, that's an additional. Sorry, the very, very last line is actually cut off from the text. But it's when an enemy whose name includes Frieza is around, he just performs a crit. He had that before. The last new line is when there are extreme class enemies, attack 59 and a high chance to perform a crit. So that's huge. So you got a Frieza around, you're always gonna crit. But you know, there's significantly less Friezas than there are like pure Saiyans, hybrid Saiyan, what do you call it, enemies and stuff like that in the game. So extreme class enemies, high chance to perform a crit. That's good. That's an easy way to do it. Get some additional attack because you're fighting the bad guy, and then boom, have a high chance to perform a crit. It's huge. Huge. Simple as that. We're gonna go ahead and move on to Frieza. Because I think we've spoken more than enough about this guy. I think I'll explain Frieza and then I'll explain like where I stand on, you know, who's better than the other one. But Goku, very, very, very good, very, very competent unit, and it's going to be very, very tough for Frieza to beat this guy out. Okay, so now we have AGO full power Frieza. So on his 12 key, his super attack, he's going to be greatly raising attack, stacking of course, and then raising defense for 1 turn. And then of course the same thing with the mega colossal damage that we've seen prior. On his ultra super, he's going to be greatly stacking attack and defense, and then causing mega colossal, huge. So basic key plus 3 attack and defense 200%, reduce damage by 20. We already know where that came from, right? This is basic right there, straight from the Goku. At the start of each turn, key plus 1 up to 3, another one from Goku. When attack, he's going to get attack and defense 50% for 4 turns. So it's only a temporary buff of attack and defense for 4 turns. And he's also going to launch an additional super attack for 4 turns. So if we go over back to Goku, when attack, all he does is do the additional super attack for 4 turns. That's it. He doesn't get any stats. With each attack received, he's going to get key plus 3. And then he's going to reduce damage received by 7% up to 20%. So Goku had key up to 3 and then attack and defense up to 59. This guy is going to be getting damage reduction. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good. It's going to be pretty good. So I just want to go ahead and just do like a quick damage reduction check right here. So start a turn, 20% DR. Every single time he receives an attack, he's going to get 7% up to 20. It's only 40% once that's fully maxed out. But as the first attacker in the turn, 30%. 30% DR. Where do you get that? Where do you get that? Boom, straight from the Goku's kit. We gotta do another damage check, right? So 30% max out his attacks, that's a 20%, that's 50%. Innate Lena's kit, he has 20%, that's 70% damage reduction as the first slot unit, but only after he receives 3 attacks. So he's going to build up very, very similar to the 6-year LR in Super Saiyan Blue Evolution Vegeta, where you want to put him in the first slot, right? because you want him to stack up that damage reduction, but you're sitting there praying, just on your hands and knees, just begging, please, 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 do normal attacks before the big super comes in. That's all that you're praying. It's going to be the same thing with this guy. You're going to be sitting there on your hands and knees begging that you get slapped up before you actually get super attacked. The only thing that's different between him and then the Super Saiyan Blue evolution is that Vegeta loses all that damage reduction that he builds up at the end of the turn. This Frieza is going to keep it. All you need to do is just get 3 slaps on him, and he's going to have that 20% DR for the rest of the damn game. So, moving on from the first attacker. So we know he could take. We know he could take it the first time. 1000% he could take. As the second or third attacker on the turn, attack 50%, and then great chance to launch an additional super attack. Okay. More damage. And then for 1 turn from first appearance, guards all attacks. This is the controversy right here. Because you know how I just said, so we already know he could tank. 70% DR. Oh, Bakazi, that's a little bit under what you said was acceptable. Yeah, I kind of accounted for the fact that this guy also has guard. Because I had already read all this information before, so in my head it was just like innately guard. But it's only guard for 1 turn. What did I just say? High 70s, low 80s is acceptable. Is acceptable without guard. This is where I think things are going to get extremely, extremely difficult to do because we need to see the calcs. We need to see the numbers. Okay. 70, you know, high 70s, low 80% without guard is acceptable for me. Well, Kazi, is it acceptable that he doesn't have guard, even though he has it for 1 turn? So that guard for 1 turn is more than enough times. It's more than enough time for you to get that 3 attacks on you to get up to that 70%, which is slightly below what I would say is acceptable. But Kazi, he's gonna have millions of defense, right? After that first turn? Well, I don't know yet. I don't know. We have to wait until the playtest come out. We need to see what his numbers look like after the first turn. Because he's getting, like, when he's attacked, attacking defense 50% for 4 turns. So that's already huge right there. He's getting this. Obviously, we already talked about all the damage reduction. And then for the first 6 turns from first appearance, 150%. So, like, I don't know. I don't know. Like, what is the card going to look like after 6 turns when this 150 wears out? Maybe he's a monster, right? After that first turn, when you get like your stack, maybe you get 1 ultra super attack and you're spamming these, so like you're spamming attack raises and stuff like that. But we need to see what his defense is looking like after this first ultra super attack turn, and then in combination with when he's attacked and he gets that other 50% defense. We need to see what the numbers look like right there, because that could be huge. So this guy can walk in, like I said, he only has guard for 1 turn, so he's really only an acceptable tanker for 1 turn, because the first turn, he has that guard, and then he has the, first attacker, so it's going to be 50, but every single time he gets attacked in that first slot, up to 3 times, he's going to get up to 20. So that's going to elevate him even higher. So at the end, let's say like first slot, 3 slaps, right? Boom, 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 boom. Before he does his super attack, he's going to be a guarding unit with 70% damage reduction. That's more than acceptable for me. What's not acceptable for me is when he loses that guard. So what is this guy, what are his stats going to look like when this guard runs out? So that literally the next turn after he gets a turn, what are his stats going to look like right then and there? Because right here is going to be a huge amount of defense right here, that 150%. And then this 50% right here is also going to be a huge amount when he gets attacked. So I need to see what his defense looks like in terms of like start of turn, third turn, or start of turn after his first appearance. I need to see what those numbers look like. If he's sitting at like 2.2 million, it's more than okay, because you sit at 2.2 million with 70% damage reduction, you're fine. You're vibing hell. If you're sitting at 1.8 with 70% damage reduction, you're 9 times out of 10, you're gonna be good. You're gonna be good. And then the guy does stack defense after that on his 18 key, but he's only raising it for 1 turn on his 12 key. So that's another thing that you got to keep in mind. I don't know if he's gonna have the tankiness, especially or the tankiness on that turn after he first appears. And then another thing that I'm kind of worried about is after the 6 turns from first appearance, like what are his stats gonna look like after that? Like, is he gonna be one of those units that like he starts off and he's gonna be like him for 6 turns and then he just falls off greatly? Like, that's another reason, like right here, for 6 turns from the first appearance, guards all attacks. Like, this Goku, when he loses his guard, that's the controversy. It's similar to this Frieza. The controversy for this Frieza is, for one, this guards all attacks, but two would be the attack and defense 150%. Because in my head, I'm thinking to myself, like, this guard all attacks for one turn. That's not terrible. Not terrible. That might be just enough to get this guy over the edge to get all of his 70% damage reduction inbuilt in his kit. And then it'll be enough for him to get that 50% defense right there. And he already gets 150. But I'm just thinking, like, well, what happens when these 6 turns from the first appearance are gone? Like, does he just go from like 1.8, 1.9 million startup turn defense to like 900k, 1 million? Like, so there's just a lot of questions surrounding these units. Like, we need to be able to use them to truly understand. The kits on paper seem worse than I believe they'll actually play. I think a similar situation happened with well, I think for Buhan would be like one of the biggest ones, like in recent times, the Super EZA for Buhan. Like, we were reading through it and like it didn't seem like too crazy in terms of like in comparison to AGO Vegito. But it was, on paper he was good enough. He was good enough that when you actually put him in a battle, he just looked absolutely ridiculous. And then two, we also got to account for the fact that similar to that Super EZA Imp Buhan, that didn't look absolutely crazy on paper. I mean, I think he looked fine, but everybody has different opinions on what characters look good on paper and whatnot. But this Frieza is an extreme character. In my head, an extreme character even being comparable on paper to a super character automatically puts them like head and shoulders above the totem pole, because there are so little good extreme type units in comparison to super type units. There's like a solid handful of super units, of good super units in comparison to like one good extreme unit. I know the tides are kind of shifting. We got all these badass Shinimbas, all these great Brolys and stuff coming into fruition, all these Buhans and these Kid Boos coming up. But the statement still holds true that super is still the stronger class. That's just how it is, and it'll probably always be that way because we just get significantly more good guy drops than we do bad guy drops. Significantly more super class new characters than we do extreme type new characters. But yeah, I mean, that's really my only issue with these, is that I need to see the numbers. 1000%. I need to see the numbers. What is Goku gonna look like when this guard's out? 1000% on some of these harder fights, we're going to see this guard run out. Am I gonna be like, oh, I'll just float him off and he'll be fine? Am I gonna want to keep him on rotation because he's still a beast? Am I still gonna want to put him in the second slot? Like, what are my plans of action moving forward once this guard is gone? With Frieza, first turn, immaculate character, comes back around third turn. Am I gonna want to float him off already? Hasn't even stacked. Like, am I gonna really be like, yeah, his defense just isn't good enough, like I have to float him off, and then just float him off, let him do a couple more 18 keys, and then maybe I could throw him on rotation like a turn or two before his 6 turns from first appearance runs off. Like, what am I gonna be doing after the 6 turns of first appearance if he doesn't have good enough stats on the rotation after his strongest turn, which is the first turn? So if he doesn't have good enough attacks on the second turn that I see him, what the fuck makes me think he's gonna have good attacks after 6 turns? Is he gonna be stacking that much? No, he doesn't stack defense all that much. He doesn't have it on his 12 key. He only raises it for 1 turn on his 12 key. That was another issue that I had when this Frieza and the Goku had first came out, is I didn't like the fact that the original Goku, where is he? He stacks on his 12 key, and on his ultra super attack, he only raises attack. I didn't like that. I don't like this effect at all. Like, I love stacking, always have, always will. It's kind of like an OG thing nowadays. It doesn't matter too much, but I think it matters exponentially for these guys right here, because it does suck because you can only do 1 18 key a turn, so you can only greatly raise your attack and defense once a turn for each of these units. It's just that this right here, this boy just has a better 12 key. You can spam these 12 keys, and Goku just has the better of the 12 keys. I've never really liked that, but I understand why it has to be that way. Frieza is supposed to be that dude doing all the damage. Goku is supposed to be the super tank. I understand it. It's just like, I don't have to really like, I can understand it, but I don't have to accept it, because I want Frieza to have just as much love as they gave the Goku, but unfortunately, this is just how it is. we have one more page for the Frieza. When there are super class enemies, he's gonna get 100% attack and then a high chance to perform a crit, which is pretty solid because you're gonna, like I said, there's a lot more super class than there is extreme, so you're gonna see that a lot. And then lastly, when there is an enemy whose name includes Goku, performs a critical hit. This is going to be exponentially better than Goku's part of the kit, where it's just when there's an enemy whose name includes Frieza, performs a crit. Because there are significantly more Goku cards in the game than there are Frieza cards. So yeah. Dope right there. Another common Frieza W. But yeah, guys, that's kind of like my opinions on this. I know it took me a lot of time to run through all these. I just wanted to go kind of line by line and explain like what I was thinking when I was first reading this these cards, these spreadsheets for them. I think because Frieza in on paper is extremely comparable to Goku. I'd even say he has some lines that are significantly better than Goku's at the moment, having not have obviously seen them with the playtest or any sort of numbers and calc surrounding them. I think Frieza is probably going to be the card that I run the most. I think it's gonna be very similar to Kid Buu. Like the Kid Buu EZA, the STR one. I love the super units, but when you have extreme type units that are this good, I would much rather run them. Like I love the Buu. I love the Buu team. I love the idea of the Broly team. I would much rather play with extreme type units while they're good, because I just know that eventually we're gonna get into the same rut again. We've done it many times in Dokkan history, to where super cards are gonna be so damn good, and there's gonna be so many of them that the extreme cards kind of just like fade away into the null. Like I remember when the best extreme type team was the damn Ginyu Force, and like nothing else was even close. And like the Ginyu Force like coming in and then taking over the game, like I think it was a little bit before the 7th year, was like ridiculous, because like no other extreme type unit was even comparable at the time. Like it was downright it was downright disgusting. That's all I can say about it. So very similar to the Janemba, very similar to the Imp Buuhan Super EZA. I think my favorite out of all of these EZAs is probably gonna be Frieza. 1000% is gonna be Frieza. I like Goku. I really hope that I guess you could say I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong, and that this 6 turns from first appearance and he loses his guard doesn't matter as I think it's gonna matter. I really hope it doesn't. And like he fucking comes out after 6 turns and he's like sitting at 3 mil or something like that with 50% damage reduction in the first slot. Like I hope that happens. I really do. As far for the Frieza, I'm a little bit more worried about him, because losing this 150 is going to be huge. And like I said, this Goku, he raises defense on his 12, so it's going to be significantly easier for him to have those crazy defensive numbers. I just don't think the difference between him having all these defensive stacks that he's going to get from having this really second on his 12 key is going to make up for the fact that Frieza only has 20 more damage reduction in the first slot than him. I don't think this 20% damage reduction is going to make up for like the extra 1 million defense that this Goku is going to have, because he has a 12 key that greatly raises defense and this guy only has greatly raised attack. Like I'm almost certain this Frieza is probably going to be, for the first couple turns, he's probably going to be the dedicated slot 1 unit, even without his guard. Like we'll have to see what his defense numbers look like turn after the guard runs out. But I think he's still going to be the slot 1 unit. He's just going to kind of vibe. He's going to get his attack up, and then towards the end of the game, when this runs out, he's probably just going to have to be slot 2 and 3. I really hope, like I said, the Goku, I think he has adequate enough time to get his defense up before this guard comes out. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much all I have left to say about it. Let's look at the numbers. Let's look at the numbers. We'll get the playtest soon. We'll get to see what the cards looking like. Just want to say it's going to be extremely valuable right here for Goku, for this Goku EZA, because these guys have been like absolutely garbage for a long time, and they're on a like boatload of categories, absolute boatload. Yeah, look at that. Look at all those categories. Oh my god, look at all those buffs. Where you at, Frieza? Look at all those category buffs right there. So it's gonna be extremely nice. If you're a new guy to the Dokkan Sphere and stuff, maybe you pulled this guy from the banner from Vegeta when you were chasing him. What is this? This Frieza should be on the next banner, I believe. He should be on the Gogeta banner for the Dokkan Fest, because they do like they dropped at the same time, so they normally will do one unit from like the dedicated Dokkan Fest, and then they'll do the other unit in the part 2. So yeah, this if you don't have this Frieza, don't worry, he should be coming on the Gogeta banner. I'm almost certain you guys are going to be summoning on the Gogeta banner. It's gonna be the Dokkan Fest one. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much gonna be it for the video. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see you all later.